Hello friends, today we are going to do the chapter M.O.M in orbit. Artificial satellites like the Mars Orbiter mission are objects that we place in orbit around a planet. Satellites can be useful in lots of ways. Communication satellites help us talk over the phone, watch TV and use the internet. And weather satellites help us predict the weather and sometimes prepare for natural disasters. The satellite placed into orbit around Mars will send us photographs and information about the climate, the presence of water and the natural environment of the planet. With this information, scientists will be able to find out more about how planets are formed and why Earth is the only planet to harbor intelligent life. Who knows? Perhaps these satellites will help us find life on other planets in the universe. Satellites are carried into space using rockets that fall back to Earth after they launch the satellites into the space. In 2013, a team of scientists at ISRO were racing against time to complete an important mission. They wanted to send a satellite into orbit around Mars. Nobody in India had ever tried such a thing before. In 18 months, Earth and Mars would come very close to each other as they orbited the Sun. The scientists wanted to send the satellite into space then because it would need less energy. Once launched, the satellite would enter Mars orbit. It would then send the scientists important information about Mars' surface and atmosphere. After months of hard work, bad weather delayed the launch by 5 days. Everyone was very nervous indeed. 5 November 2013. Thankfully, it was a success. But their work wasn't done yet. The satellite's engine wasn't strong enough to take it out of Earth's orbit. They had to come up with a way to generate a lot of speed fast. So they made the satellite orbit around the Earth 6 times and waited until it picked up enough speed. Then they fired 2 engines to thrust the satellite out of Earth's orbit. The technique they used is lot, like when you tie a ball to a piece of string and rotate it over your head until it builds enough energy to fly out of your hand with a great speed. The next obstacle the scientists faced was getting the satellite into Mars orbit. If the satellite was too slow, it would crash into Mars, and if it was too fast, it would miss the planet's orbit and drift into space. It was as if they had to hit a target from thousands of miles away. The moment of truth had finally arrived. Everyone was on tenterhooks until they heard 3 little words. M.O.M in orbit. Indian Space Research Organization. India successfully launched its first satellite into Mars orbit on the very first attempt. It is hard to believe now that India's first attempt to launch a satellite into space ended in failure. Splash! 1979 in Bay of Bengal. Words harder to believe. However, it is the humble beginning of the Indian Space Research Organization, late 1960s. Perhaps the hardest thing to believe is that India is today one of the most important spaceports in the world. ISRO has come a long way since the days of bullock carts hauling in important rocket parts. They have built one of the most reliable rocket ships, developed a space program from scratch, and even launched 104 satellites simultaneously. And who knows? Maybe someday it might be up to you to lead us to the stars. Friends, this interesting story is written by C.G. Salamander. Thank you, friends. Bye bye.